As a professional wedding and wildlife photographer, it's hard to believe that just a couple of years ago I was having to switch between as many as 4 applications to process some of my images to a point where I was satisfied that they were as perfect as I could make them. And if anyone had suggested that today there would be a one-stop app that would cover me for upscaling, sharpening, denoising, colour correction and exposure adjustment, I would have been amazed. And if they also said that the app would instantly analyse my image and then automatically adjust all of those functions, most often getting the adjustments spot on, I simply wouldn't have believed them. However, today, Topaz have just launched their brand new Photo AI version 2, and that's exactly what I can achieve with this amazing one-stop processing tool. So today, I'm going to demonstrate just why Topaz is changing the way photographers approach their processing with the advent of its amazing AI technology. Hi, I'm Ken Hatfield. Welcome to my Better Photography channel. So this is what you'll see when you first open the app. Basically, it's got some information on how to get started and some user guides, which I do suggest that you look at. It's also got an opportunity here if your plugin hasn't automatically downloaded. It usually does in Photoshop and in Lightroom, but if you have a program that doesn't have an automatic upload of plugins, then you can use this to manually upload the plugin to your program if it's appropriate. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up one of these images here just so I can show you the interface. Basically, this image needs to be resized. The program has noticed that it's a small size photograph, and what it's automatically done, it's analysed the image, it's realised a small image, and automatically it's upscaled it by 3.5 times. What you'll see here on this side here is all the tools that you're going to be using with the program are listed over here. Down at the bottom here is the image information at the bottom here, and down here is the different views that you can look at. You can look at full screen, a swipe screen where you can actually swipe back and forwards to see the effect. And you'll notice actually already, despite having not used any other tool other than upscaling, it's already increased the resolution. It's already improved it. Let me show you by enlarging. So there we go. Look at that. Even though you've not asked it to do anything, it's automatically recognised that it could do with a better resolution, and it's actually applied that. Here we can see a side by side, and we can just drag that down and have a look, and they say you can see the difference between the two is already amazing. So this is the upscaling tool. Now there's a little anomaly with that if you're using Photoshop or Lightroom. I'm going to show you what that is. So if we go to Photoshop, I've already got the photograph shown here. When you go to your filter and your plugins, you look to go to Photo AI. Don't use that if you want to upscale, because it won't work. For some reason or other, you actually have to go to File, Automate, then go down to AI, and then it will actually take it into the program and do what exactly I've just done in the standalone app. So remember that if you are looking to upscale, don't use the filter menu in Photoshop or in Lightroom. So as you can see, it already looks great. I wouldn't want to do much more to that. You can play around with it, but it doesn't look as though it needs anything doing to it. If you hover up here, you can click on the left-hand side here, and it brings up your options. It's automatically resized it to 3.5 times, which is that as a dimensions there, which you can look at in pixels, inches, or centimeters. You can also use other standard resizings, or you can actually put your own sizes in there if you want to use an exact size for your image. There's also some AI models here. These basically are different kind of resolutions here, and you can actually click on those and it will show you different resolutions. You can take a little bit of time to have a look and see which one is the one that you prefer. And I'm just going to leave that on low resolution, okay? Below that, there is a slider menu here for minor denoise and minor deblur. Again, you've got to just try those to see if they have any effect on the image that makes it more pleasing to your eye. But that's a great tool there to upscale and improve your image. I often take images that don't need upscaling into upscale and increase the size and then crop in, because it does actually add to the image itself, which I think is great. So I'm not actually going to save that, but I will come down to the bottom here, and then I'll go on these little three dots here and it'll allow me just to close the image. Okay, so the next image I'm going to bring in to show denoise. And we've got a nice noisy picture that Topaz have actually sent as a demonstration copy. So what it's doing at the moment, first of all, it's upscaled it. Now you can turn that off if you don't want to upscale it. And then it showed you here, it's already seen that there's noise. It's actually recognized that, and it's used this tool here to actually remove the noise. And again, if you come over here, there's additional tools here. You can have normal, strong, or extreme models. You can use that if you feel it hasn't done a good enough job. And then there's additional sliders here to strengthen the effect. There's a minor deblur and something here for recovering the original detail. And just let's have a look at this image. You can see it's just done an amazing job. Let's do the slider there. And you can see that's pretty good. And let's just look at the full screen. Now, there's an interesting thing on a full screen. If you click on it, and then you'll see the original, and you click off it, and then you'll see the effect. The original and the effect. So again, this is a panel here that you can use for removing noise. You can also bring in any of these other features, and as I say, I'm going through them one by one so that you can see how to apply them, and then you can actually literally go through them to see if anything improves the image or if it needs something to just make it that little bit better. And I would strongly recommend that you learn how to use all of these so that you know exactly how to improve your image. I'm not going to save that, so I'm going to come down, go to the three little dots and close the image. So what we want to look at now, I think, will be sharpening. And we'll open that. I'm just going to remove the size down to 100%. You can see this lovely lady is blurred. So what the program is currently doing, you can see on the right hand side, autopilot is working. It's previewed and applied sharpening and done a face recovery. That's the other thing this does. It actually identifies if there's a face in the image and makes an improvement to the facial features. So let's look at this before and after. It'd probably be better to increase the size just to get a better idea. Obviously at 200%, and you can see it's actually taken the blur out there. Now again, if you don't think that's enough, you can open the tool by going to the left hand side, and then it tells you that it's detected medium blur in this image. But if you feel that that is not as strong as you like, you just then go to the models there and you can apply a stronger one. That's, to me, it's slightly better. You can see the preview has been updated, so you know it's finished programming. You can look at lens blur, wait for it to re-render. Motion blur, that might be effective. That looks quite good as well. And then there's a standard version 2, which is new for this particular version, and it's another option for you. I'm going to go for the motion blur there, and I think we need to do just a wee bit of denoise. Now I'll try the minor denoise. It's rendering again, yeah, and that's worked beautifully on it. Remember, this is 200%, so it's above the resolution you might want. So that you can see there is wonderful. So let's just upscale it by 2 times, and it's immediately done that, and you can see that it's done a really good job and much better than the original. Again, that's the original and that's the finished. The original and the finished. And if you're not pleased with that, well, then I can't imagine what other program could do that any better. So again, I'm not going to hold on to that. I shall come down here, use the 3 dots to close the image. I'm not going to save it. So let's look at face recovery now. And this is a tool that was already in version 1, but I'm informed that on this particular version, Topaz have looked at all of the tools and managed to improve them all. So here we can see this lady here. So it's already upscaled by 4 times. It's brought the image up to 3200 by 2132. And again, you can use the model here to see if there's any of them do a better job. I'm not going to do that today for time purposes. And you can see it's already applied the face recovery tool. So here you can see this is at 100%. Let's look at the before and the after. The before and the after. And that's it. To give you a better idea, let's just increase the size of it. That's the before and that's the after. Before and you have to, again, 400%, it's going to be perfect, but take it back to 100%. And that's a really nice image. Again, the face recovery, if it's got tools, if you click on it, actually there, it tells you that one face is selected. Now, this is interesting because had there been 3, 4, 5, 10 people in that particular image, it would have applied a setting for every single face. It would put a square around each of the faces and then allow you to apply a correction to all or any of them. And you would do that by pressing the select faces. Obviously there's only one here, but you would, if you were 6 people there, you would have 6 boxes, and you could actually select it box by box and make a change to all or any of them. So this is the face recovery. Great tool, works wonders, and strongly recommend that you try that one out. So let's go to the tools that are new in this particular version. And the first one of those is color balance. So open that up. As you can see, it's already finished analysing. It's already made an upscale of 1.5. It's seen that it needs to be sharpened. And if you look to the left-hand side here, it tells you what it's done. It's detected high blur in the image and applied sharpening to it. You can apply it to the subject only, or you can apply it to the entire subject itself. And you can click that on or off. On this one, obviously, we just want to apply it to the subject only. There's 4 or 5 different models, and there's a new one down here for version 2, which will give you another option should you wish to use it. So let's look at the swipe tool. And if we swipe that side by side tab. Now, what's interesting here, obviously, although the image has been brought in for color balance, it hasn't automatically done anything with the color balance. So what I'm going to do now is going to go to the color balance tool. And if you go down there and switch that on, it will then analyze. You can see up here, it's analyzing here, and it'll bring in an automatic setting. And as you can see, it's removed a lot of the red color cast. If you're not happy with that, you can also go to the adjust lighting. This is another new tool there. And if we bring that up, and then we can use an adjustment there to adjust the lighting levels. And again, you're going to have to wait until it renders up above there, and it takes a little while, so you can bring that up, or you can bring it down, just to give it a tweak and make sure that you're happy with the level of light on the lady's face. Let's just leave it at that for now, as I'm just intending to give you an idea of how the tools work. So again, these tools can work in conjunction with each other, and if you use multiple tools, you can get amazing effects without traveling back and forwards to different apps in Photoshop. So I'll bring this one out. So we'll get rid of that. And then we'll go to the light adjustment. As you can see, it's already brought it in, had a look at it, and it's already applied sharpening. I always like to look to see what it has done automatically. But of course, what we're trying to do now is to adjust the lighting. She's far too dark there. So if we put the tab on there, it tells you what it's done. The default setting is 25. It tells you, if you look at the side here, the idea then is to use your own judgment as to what you want to do to make it to a level that you think is correct. And I like to go back to the main screen there, and then you can literally just move that back or forwards until you're happy with the lighting levels. What you can do again is click on the image before and after, before and after. That's fairly noisy actually, so what I then do is I bring the noise reduction in, have that render, and as you can see, it's now removed the noise and made it a much more appealing image. So you can use these tools, as I say, in conjunction with each other, put them together to get an effect that previously you might have to use 3 or 4 or 5 tools to get the same effect. You can do it all together on this particular platform. So lastly, let's look at batch processing. What I'm going to do there is I'm going to bring in 3 images that are very similar to each other, which I think could well be applicable to have them processed together in Topaz. So it'll bring the 3 images down in the bottom left hand side. You pick which image you want to use as a base image. So let's just use this one for example's sake. Move it more over the subject there. It's already analysed the image. As you can see up here, the preview is updated, and actually it's removed noise, and it clearly doesn't think it needs any sharpening. So it's actually removed the noise. Let's have a look at that as a side by side, and let's increase the size so you can see clearly that yes, there is noise there, and you can see that it's done a really nice job to get rid of that. and I think the other images are likely to be the same. So all I need to do now is, having done the adjustment to this one particular image, you simply go back down to the three dots on the image there, and you apply the current setting to all of the images. And obviously checks to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And then you'll see all three images have had the same effect applied to them. As you can see there, the noise has gone from that, and it is actually a much better, clearer images. So that's basically the new Topaz version 2. It's got new tools, even better quality than before, and to me worth every single penny that you spend on it. This has saved me so much time as a wedding photographer and a wildlife photographer. I often have hundreds, if not thousands, of images to wade through. To be able to do all this in one app is really, really amazing. And I will be continuing. It's the only app that I actually support. It's the only one that I recommend, and it will remain so until someone brings along something even better, which they're going to have to go a long way to find you something better than Topaz Photo AI version 2. So there you go, one application for pretty much all of your processing needs. Now, if you like what you've seen, then you can use the link in the description below to download and try Photo AI absolutely free of charge. And then if you then see the amazing potential with this program and wish to add it to your processing tools, then you can use this link to receive a whopping $40 discount, bringing the cost down to just $159. And remember, that's for an app to cover upscaling, sharpening, denoising, colour balance and exposure control. And if you try it, I reckon you'll buy it. See you next time on my Better Photography channel.